What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you with another edition of Pregame Sauce. Hope everyone's well. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope your week is starting off the way that you want it. Give me a sec here. I got to do something with Instagram. It doesn't want to, it's not acting right for me. Did you guys hear the announcement of the NCAA tournament? I don't know if you guys heard that, but they came out today. The NCAA tournament came out and said that the whole tournament is going to be in the state of Indiana. We figured that much, but they were very specific about where they're going. Butler, Indiana, Purdue, IUPUI, Bankers Life Arena, and also Lucas Oil Field, Lucas Oil Stadium. So there'll be 6 venues for March Madness coming up. I'm glad the NCAA got out ahead of this. Mark Wade was good. I'm glad the NCAA got out ahead of this and made specific plans and announcements so that people can get excited. The transparency is refreshing as well, something that the NCAA is typically not. Transparency and NCAA typically don't come into play in the same phrase. So nice change of pace. Well done, NCAA. Reggie 055. Charlie Deasy, Nikki Lang Perkins, Artez, 1982, Mark Wade. What's good, y'all? Let's kick it off, man. Got a good one tonight. Maryland versus Indiana, 7 p.m. on Big Ten Network. Maryland coming off a loss to the undefeated Michigan Wolverines. They were at home, but there were some good things. Maryland ended up losing the game, but they did some really good things. They shot the ball extremely well, but unfortunately, they lost Daryl Morcell. Franz Wagner with an inadvertent elbow to the side of his face, and it was such a strong blow that he fractured a facial bone, and he had a divot in his head when he was coming off the sideline. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was a nasty shot. It wasn't intentional. It was just a basketball play, but he has like a divot in the side of his head. But they said that he had successful surgery. He's going to miss about a week or two. Knowing Daryl Morcell, I know him personally. That young man's going to try to come back. He would try to come back tonight if the officials at Maryland, the coaching staff, would allow him. But I expect him to be out a week. So Maryland a little underhanded tonight. So the key player for Maryland will be Dante Scott. He was 5 of 5 from three-point land against Michigan. Ended up with 18 points, led the Terrapins in scoring. He has really emerged from his freshman year being a role player to sophomore year being one of the go-to offensive guys for Maryland. Has really expanded his game. If you haven't seen him play yet, about a 6'7" hybrid forward, can do a little of everything, can put it on the floor. Mark Turgeon is happy with him making plays in stretch time. He made one of the toughest plays of the Big Ten season that I've seen when he came down the middle at Wisconsin and made an emphatic dunk in a very key portion of that game that allowed Maryland for that to go on to have that upset victory. So he's an extremely talented forward, can shoot the three. Obviously, you see the numbers from the previous game versus Michigan. He's a rugged forward, Philly tough, and he's got to have a big game if Maryland wants to get back on the winning track and pick up a road victory in the Big Ten. The Maryland Keys stay hot from three-point land. Even though they lost to Michigan in their last game at home, Michigan's undefeated in the Big Ten, playing as well as anybody in the conference and in the country, really. He is, the team is shooting well from three. They had not been shooting this well recently. So if Dante Scott, if Eric Ayala, I know Morcell is not with them, but Morcell is not necessarily a three-point shooter. So his absence may not hurt them in that area. But Jarius Hamilton, I know Don Green her son is a personal friend of Jarius Hamilton. He's 6'8", 6'9", but he's really a two guard. So he needs to really look for his shot. And Hakeem Hart, the 6'6" sophomore swing player from Maryland, had a breakout game early in the year. I believe it was 32 points against Towson. It was an early game against Maryland against a non-conference foe where Hakeem Hart busted out with 32 points. This guy can shoot the three. He's just struggling with confidence right now. So Maryland's got to stay hot from three in order to get this victory on the road. For Indiana, their key player is Aljamae Durham. Al Durham is a senior guard that throughout his Indiana career, in my opinion, he struggled with his confidence. Well, last game against Penn State, he shot the leather off the rock from three-point land. Let me make sure on the numbers. Let me get the numbers right. Aljamae Durham was 5 of 9 from the field. He got to the free throw line, made all 5 of his free throws, and he was third in scoring. No, he was second in scoring. I'm sorry. He was 4 of 8 from three-point land, 6 of 12 from the field. And I believe 12 field goal attempts for Aljamae Durham may be a season high. So he's playing his best basketball right now. He's got to stay hot. He had 18 points versus Penn State in their overtime victory at home against the Nittany Lions. He's got to stay hot and maintain that hot hand for Indiana. So he would be a key player. Trace Jackson Davis, one of the best in the country. He's a walking double-double. Armaan Franklin has been playing outstanding basketball really all season long for Indiana. So you expect those two mainstays to be there. When Indiana can get a third player to show up like Al Durham did in their last game, they are a very, very difficult team to match up with. Let's flip over to Indiana. Wait a minute. I just did their Indiana's key players, Al Durham. Indiana's keys for the game is consistent backcourt scoring. I talked about Armaan Franklin has been playing consistent, excellent basketball for Indiana. A nice 6'4", 6'5" guard, can do a lot of different things. Very good on the defensive end as well. But when Rob Phinisee and Al Durham score double figures, Indiana is a tough, tough opponent. I talked about Trace Jackson Davis. He's going to bring it up front. Race Thompson has been a pleasant surprise to me, maybe not to the Indiana faithful, but to me, Race Thompson might be one of the most improved players on their team. I like Galloway, the freshman, but the front court of Indiana has been very consistent. Trace Jackson Davis, Race Thompson up front, they've been very consistent. Where Indiana has had some inconsistencies on the offensive end is in the backcourt. So when Al Durham and Rob Phinisee step up and they can get in double figures and they can be aggressive, that takes a lot of pressure off Jackson Davis up front and makes Indiana a much more balanced team. They're a very good defensive team. They're one of the top defensive teams in the Big Ten Conference, so their defense has been fairly consistent. And the only games that Indiana has lost all season have been the top 25 ranked opponents. So this is a very good Indiana ball club. And if they can get that consistent backcourt scoring, they could be yet another surprise in the Big Ten Conference. Shu Vic, Illini headline, Matt Gertzmeyer, Stephen, thoughts on the state of Indiana hosting the entire NCAA tournament. I love it, given the state's rich history. Matt, I don't really give a whole lot of stock in the fact that Indiana has such a rich basketball history as the reason that they're getting the NCAA tournament. It's all because of the pandemic. And it's all with the notion that the NCAA wants to have as much control over the safety of the event as possible. So with that being said, Purdue University, Butler, IUPUI, Assembly Hall, where our game is tonight, Lucas Oil Stadium, where the Colts play, and Bankers Life Fieldhouse, where the Pacers play. Those will be the 6 events, the 6 game locations for the NCAA tournament this season. So, Matt, I like it because the NCAA came out early January and told you exactly what they're trying to do. So now we can build excitement for March Madness. We know what it's going to look like. We know where the games are going to be held. And we can get excited about the tournament coming up. That's what I like about it the most. Let's see. Also, Big Ten teams can be considered for the tourney has to be the most or tied for the most ever in conference history. Shows how deep this conference is. Yeah, Mike DeCourcy today, he comes out every Monday now. He'll come out with his bracketology. He has 10 teams right now currently from the Big Ten Conference in the NCAA tournament. And he has he's got another Big Ten team right on the outside looking in, like the last four out. Is it Indiana? It might be the Hoosiers, who he has the last four out. He doesn't have the Hoosiers in the tournament. I don't know why, because their 4 losses, like I said, have been against top 25 competition, all of them. So their resume, I would think, is as strong as most people's. And let me go back to KenPalm.com, the analytics guru that I utilize, that I think is the best. Ken Palm has Indiana the 24th best team in the country right now. So it may be the team that Mike DeCourcy has on the outside looking in may not be Indiana, but I'll double check that. So the conference is going to be well represented, no doubt about it. Lafim Minor, I don't know if I said that. Thanks for joining. Mr. Rawl MPS 3491, Andre Moody, Zoomer Sports. Good to see you on here again. How long can Michigan stay undefeated? We'll see. Michigan hasn't played Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa. They're playing Minnesota this week. I've got that game. Really looking forward to that one. So we'll see. I don't think anybody, I think the Big Ten Conference winner this year will have 6 or 7 losses, similar to last season. So it will be interesting to see how that shakes out. Let me get to my tribe over here. Let me bring in Bear Questions. Nicholas Beatty, good to see you. I. Thanks for joining. Hey, Myra Lynn from Philippines, Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. What's up, Dad? How you doing? I like how you did that. I got to get my dad's name to show up so it just doesn't have to say your dad. Love you, Doc. Bo Singer, good to see you. Happy New Year, Bo. Thanks for tuning in. Carol, why the Michigan player is the Maryland player. Carol, I think you're referring to Daryl Morcell. He caught an inadvertent elbow to the head from Franz Wagner in their last game, their last loss against Michigan. There was a divot in his head. You could see it from the cameras where he got elbowed. He has a fractured facial bone. He had successful surgery. They say he'll be out a week or two. I believe he might be out tonight, and that may be it. He's a tough kid. I believe. I know Maryland plays later on in the week. I'm not exactly sure who that is, but I'd be surprised if he missed more than one game because he's a tough customer, and he has successful surgery. So hopefully he will heal quickly. Thank you, Captain. I try to keep it sharp for y'all, man. Try to keep it sharp. I need to shop where you shop. Bardo was working on magazine cover. No, these threads I've had for a while. These aren't new threads. This is what I wear on the television. So trying to upgrade for you all on the digital side so you get a chance to see how I look. I'll throw a tie on for my pregame hit with Big Ten Network tonight. So this is just what I wear. U of M going to get at Maryland. Howard got them boys playing. Okay, it's Maryland at Indiana tonight. And then the game I have for Michigan is Minnesota at Michigan. That's going to be a heck of a game. And Michigan is playing as well as anybody in the Big Ten Conference right now, still undefeated. Michigan looked good against Northwestern last night. Thought the game would be close. Very surprised. Michigan can play. They've got the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. in Hunter Dickinson. You guys heard me talk about the Big Ten preview. I said Hunter Dickinson would be an impact freshman to watch. He's been the best freshman in the Big Ten, been one of the best players in the conference throughout the season. And he's a major difference. But Michigan is old. You guys don't realize how old Michigan is. Smith, the transfer from Columbia, he's a grad transfer. Sean D. Brown, the impact transfer from Wake Forest, is a junior or senior, I believe. Franz Wagner is a junior, sophomore, junior. Livers is a senior. Eli Brooks is a senior. I mean, that's an older team. So am I surprised about them being undefeated? Yes, but I'm not surprised that they're at the top of the Big Ten Conference. Straight out of the GQ Mag. Thank you, Captain. Go Blue. Okay, we got a Michigan fan in the house. Good morning, good evening from Singapore, Bardo's Tribe. What's up, Donovan Lang? Happy New Year to you, my man. Thank you so much. Your sister's on IG over here with us. Let's see. D Champ 22 was good. Thanks for jumping on. Are you going to be on the tube later on BTN right before the game starts? Yes, Carol. I will be on for the Maryland at Indiana game. I'll do a pregame hit about 6:30 for the 7 p.m. game. So tune into the tip-off show at Big Ten Network at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll do a pregame hit on that. Hey, Stephen, were the Illini looking ahead to Northwestern and past Purdue Saturday, asked Stephen Gooch. Stephen, good to see you. Glad you're joining. There are no surprises this year in the Big Ten Conference. If it's a conference game and the opponent's team has guys on scholarship, any game could be close. I don't think Illinois was looking past Northwestern. Purdue is the youngest team in the Big Ten Conference, but they are talented. And they're figuring things out with having guys who were role players at one point last year become the man this year. They're still figuring that out. They have 5 freshmen that they play. And they played well at Illinois. Not well enough to beat one of the nation's elite teams, but they played well. So, no, I don't think Illinois is looking past anyone. Because if you look past anyone in this year's Big Ten, you're going to get beat. And his hair has dyed. What do you think, Paul Poquette, the #1 tribe member? Hey, man, I got to put the shoe polish in. It looks good, though. I left some gray in there. You know, I didn't want to look like Burt Reynolds. So I'm getting better at my shoe polish game. Let's see. No, not Nebraska. Sorry about that, y'all. I jumped a little bit. David James, do you think we get 2 teams in the Final Four? Depending on the selection Sunday, David, I think that depending on how it shakes out, I think there's definitely enough top-heavy teams in the Big Ten that they could get 2 teams in the Final Four. I don't think there's any question about that. The way that Michigan is playing right now, Michigan looks like a Final Four contender. Illinois has looked like a Final Four contender. Iowa, Wisconsin are Final Four contenders. So right now, the Big Ten has 4 teams that I can see right now that could play in the Final Four. Okay? So I do think that depending on how Selection Sunday is and how the teams are drawn and the matchups, I definitely think that the Big Ten could get 2 teams in the Final Four. But, David, great question. But screw getting teams in the Final Four. The Big Ten hasn't had a national champion in over 20 years. Final Fours are okay, but you want a national champion if you're the Big Ten Conference. And you got to break through. You can't keep saying, oh, okay, we can get teams in the Final Four. Doesn't work like that. You got to win a national champion. Got to have a national championship, right? So get to the Final Four is cool, But we need title. We need titles if you're the Big Ten Conference. No, Captain, there's going to be so many Big Ten teams that will be in the tournament. There's going to be at least, unless there's something catastrophic that happens, there'll be 9 teams in the NCAA tournament. More likely 10. But almost a lock, 9 Big Ten teams should make the NCAA tournament. So however the NCAA would try to bring parity, there's going to be a lot of candidates for the tournament to advance to the Final Four and to the championship game. What do you think the IHSA will do about basketball season? I don't really want to talk about that, Bo. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to the high school level sports, so I don't want to really say anything about that. We need to catch up. Miles Johnson from Rutgers is my guy. Oh, okay, Wade. Definitely need to catch up. Love that kid. I think Miles Johnson is tremendously talented big, and when his confidence on offense catches up with his prowess on defense, he'll be an all Big Ten performer. Crazy intelligent young man. And I love his game. So we can definitely chat on that because I really enjoy that big fella. Let me see here. Let me get back to the questions. Bo Singer, when am I on air again on FS1? The Indiana at Wisconsin on Thursday is a Fox Sports 1 game, Bo, and that will be at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Indiana at Wisconsin on Fox Sports 1 Thursday. That's a 6 p.m. Central Standard Time start. Byron Irvin, what's good? BI, how you doing, brother? Good to see you 2 times, Cam. Thank you. Do you like calling the games in studio better than broadcasting with a mask on at the arena? Zoomer Sports, I always prefer being in person, but we're in a pandemic, so I prefer being in the studio calling games because I want to be safe above everything else, right? I miss being at game action. I've been to 3. I've been to 2 Wisconsin games and 1 Butler, Indiana game in Indianapolis, and I can still see a lot more things when I'm present, but I'm at a lot more risk when I'm present as well. And I don't like to be at risk. When we call games in Big Ten Network studios, Big Ten Network has done a hell of a job of creating individual dressing rooms into individual studio booths. And they're taking every precaution to keep everyone at Big Ten Network, not only the people on air, but the producers, directors, all the production staff, they're doing an excellent job of keeping all of us safe. So this season, and as long as the pandemic is going, I like calling games in the Big Ten studios more than I like calling games on location. Hope that answers your question. That's a good question. Freak injury. Yes, that was a freak injury. Paul of Fame 5. I like that. Paul of Fame. That's a nice play on words. Who's the strongest position in the conference this season? What's the strongest position? Oh, good question, Paul. Last year it was the post. This year is probably the post position. Luka Garza is the best player in college basketball. Kofi Cockburn will probably be an All-American. Trace Jackson Davis, if he isn't an All-American, he probably should be. Hunter Dickinson has been playing as well as all 4 of those bigs I just named. And he's a freshman. That's 5. Who am I missing? Nate Reavers and Micah Potter at Wisconsin can both play the 5. Liam Robbins from Minnesota has been balling. He's the most underrated big right now in the Big Ten Conference. He's playing his behind off. That's 8. And I know I'm trying to scan through the conference in terms of quality bigs. Omoruyi from Rutgers, who is injured right now, is high level. Ooh, am I missing anybody? That's 9 quality bigs. Now, Ayo Dosunmu is an All-American. Marcus Carr is an All-American. And then perimeter-wise, I don't know that you can call really anybody outside of Marcus Carr and Ayo Dosunmu All-American. So I guess it's the post. It's a great call, Paul of Fame 5. I would say the Big Ten strongest position is the 5. So great question. I'll look out for him. Let's see. Carson James says, who's your Big Ten Conference favorite currently? I need to go back and look at all the schedules, Carson, because there's some unbalanced schedules. And so right now, Michigan is undefeated and they're playing extremely well. But they haven't faced Michigan State. They haven't played Wisconsin. They haven't played Iowa. They haven't played Illinois. Those, in addition to Michigan, those are probably Minnesota top 5 or 6 teams right now in the Big Ten. Michigan hasn't played any one of those. They will play. They're hosting Minnesota this week. I'm on that call. I'm looking forward to that game. That's going to be an outstanding game. So right now, without looking at the conference schedules, I would have to go. I'm going to go with an outside chance. I'm going to say Iowa. I think Iowa has the best Big Ten win of the year. Iowa went to Rutgers, lost McCaffrey, their starting point guard, in the first half. And they were still able to beat probably the 6th or 7th best team in the conference, Rutgers, on the road. So if I had to say, Carson, without stacking up the remaining schedules to see the imbalanced nature of it, because obviously some teams have avoid the big boys more than others. Without that knowledge right in front of me, I would guess Iowa, but that could change at any time. I think that'll do it. Carol, Ron Harper Jr. could be an All-American as well. He's playing at All-American level, so he could be in that mix as well. But I think the post position is still the strongest within the Big Ten Conference. So wait a minute. I think I got one more. Let's see. Al and Pal show. Good to see you. What's up, B. Houston? Good to see you. Who's the BTN announcer who was calling the Michigan State Nebraska game with Sean Morris? I thought he did a really good job. Zoomer Sports, Nick Baugh killed it. Nick Baugh is a color analyst, former player at Kansas and Creighton, does a great job on his own podcast, the Nick Baugh podcast. He did a great job on play-by-play, and I think Nick will get more opportunities doing so. He and Sean sounded great. He's got great pipes. He's obviously knows the game because he's typically a color analyst. Nick Baugh was the guy that was the play-by-play announcer for that Michigan State Nebraska game. Him and Sean sounded great, didn't they? Sean Morris is one of the best color guys, in my opinion. And you put a guy like Nick Baugh who could do play-by-play because he's got his own podcast. He's done his own radio show. It's not rocket science. So that's who it was, Zoomer Sports. So thanks for that question. I got to run because I got to get to the studio and get ready for the game tonight. RJ240Z, thanks for joining. Thank you all for joining. As always, love you, tribe. I will come back tomorrow for a more in-depth Big Bardo's Breakdown show with NBA coverage. We'll do a little bit of college, but we're going to focus on the NBA because a lot of things happening around the association that we need to get caught up on. So until tomorrow afternoon, you guys have a great evening. Hope you tune in to Big Ten Network starting at 6:30. I'll be on the tip-off show right at the top, I'll preview the Maryland-Indiana game. Tune in for that. Then 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Big Ten Network, Maryland at Indiana, another rugged Big Ten matchup. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, guys. Byron Irvin, thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Love you. You guys take care. Love y'all. Peace.